Well, hello. It's time for another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This is the show where I talk about the fountain pens and inks that I've used throughout the week. And this week, it's a Pens on the Road. And it's the reason you didn't get a Pens in Use last week, because what a debacle that was. But first, let's do our opening music. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, what do you do when your best laid plans absolutely, positively, 100% fail to pan out? Let us know down in the comments. So, let's take a look at some pens. Alright, so these are the pens I've been using this week from left to right. I have a Parker Jotter, the new version. I have a Lamy 2000. I have a Waterman Allure. Waterman, oops, it's a little fuzzy on my pen thing here. Waterman Carène. Platinum Procyon. Pelikan Stola 3. Senator President. Sailor Reglus. And a Pilot Custom 823. As always, we'll film the writing sample in this Cognitive Surplus notebook. So my first pen is this Parker Jotter, which you saw the review of it this week, well, first impression. And it is if not the most exciting pen, it's a decent, reliable pen. Fun fact, this pen actually fell into my couch and sat there for several weeks until I found it. And now I looked for it in there several times. I just never found it. So I found a good hiding spot. But anyway, I pulled the cap off and started writing with it, and it started right up like a champ. So it does have a good seal. So this is a Parker Jotter. The ink in it, I am told, it's the cartridge that came with it. This was not supposed to be this week's or next week's review, but hey, things happen. So Parker Quink, washable blue. Things happen like somebody can't find his footage that he planned to publish. All he has is the audio. So, being a busy week that I've been planning for by having that footage ready, I was not happy. So I jumped this one ahead in the queue. And as you can see, maybe not the most inspiring pen, but decent and reliable. So I did my little trip to Lead and Deadwood and so on, and planned to film Pens in Use down there. I even thought we'll do some on-location shooting. I brought my document camera, the one I live stream with, just so I could do it. And guess who forgot his pens? This was the only pen that came with me to South Dakota. Yay! So, luckily I had filled it before I left, so it was full of ink and lasted me almost the whole time. I actually decided to get an earlier start than planned than that final morning because this ran out of ink. I'm like, okay, that's a sign that it's time to go. So this is a Lamy 2000 with a fine point nib. The ink in it is Parker Quink, black. And yeah, we did a lot of writing together. Quink, not quick. Well, it looks horrible. Parker Quink black anyway, ladies and gentlemen. And, not the blackest black, but it's good enough. I used to think I wanted, for a black ink, it had to be the blackety blackest of black inks. And, I got it, so I don't care. If it's black, it's good enough for that purpose. My next pen has been kind of a fun one. This is the Waterman Allure. This along with the new version of the Parker Vector, which is inked up, I just didn't use it this week, have turned out to be very pleasant surprises. So this is the Waterman Allure. Has a fine nib in it. And the ink, I temporarily forgot, but luckily I've got this all written down, is Waterman Blue. I got some suggestions about what type of Waterman Blue, but I don't know for sure, so we're just going to go with blue. Because I was told Mysterious Blue, and then somebody else said Florida Blue, and I just don't know. So rather than try to guess, I just say blue. It was an unlabeled cartridge that came with the pen. And now I can say that I've tried a Waterman ink. Because I really don't have experience with the brand of inks. One thing I have noticed last couple of days, if we can get it to show up here, a little bit of sheen where the ink pools. Which I don't know if I've ever read that about Waterman inks, but again, I'm not familiar with the brand. This is a Waterman pen that I really like. This one will have some sheen, which I demonstrated 2 weeks ago. Probably this pen would have been written dry by now if I'd actually taken it with me to lead. So this is a Waterman Carène. That hard start there I think was my fault. So Waterman Carène. Carène. I have a broad nib on it, and the ink in it is Diamine. Skull and Roses. This is a series of inks that was designed to be very sheeny. I want to say they were released to Germany, but the box is in English, so maybe I'm wrong. And I don't know. I don't care either, really. I like the ink, and that's good enough for me. And this maybe not be the best pen for showing it off, but I think it does a decent job. Then we have the Platinum Procyon. One that I like. I want to do a video soon, maybe this weekend I'll film it, where I compare this and a few other similar pens. I'll probably get some disagreement, and why didn't you include this pen, and all that you usually get. You know, it's but you know what? It's my channel. I'll do what I want. The ink in this is Iroshizuku. Murasaki-shikibu. I actually had a question from somebody who's on the other end of ink collecting from me, you know, where they're still trying to accumulate ink bottles. And, you know, I love the variety of color. What I don't love is looking at all that color and thinking, I'm never going to use it all. And that put a lot of things into perspective. So, yeah, I haven't bought any new ink bottles. And I'm working on using up the ones I have. And I'm starting with my smallest bottles because those are quick victories. What's my ideal amount? Probably whatever fits in that box that sits on top of my bookshelf. And, you know, probably my staple inks, you know, my Parker Quink Washable Blue and my whatever I'm using as a black ink right here on my desk. And that's good enough. This is a Pelikan Stola 3, a pen I like, but then I let it sit for a long time without using it. Why? Because, again, too many choices. I think this is my fault. Pelikan Stola 3 and medium nib. I'm kind of scared because I think I did a pen recently, and I'm scared it's the Procyon where I gave the wrong size, so I hope not. The ink in this one is Kyo-no-oto. This brand actually was my one exception for buying new inks, and then they went to sparkles. So guess what? Not interested in them anymore. So, and that's probably good because it woke me up and I said, really, yes, they have a few unique colors, but are they that unique and is it really that special? And why not just use them up? So, I'm, especially focusing on Iroshizuku and Colorverse right now. But, yeah, Kyo-no-oto, your time's coming too. I'm going to use you up. I have my Senator President from the Ukrainian Ministry of Coal. Another pen that would probably have been used up if I'd actually taken it with me to lead, because I got a lot of writing in the evenings there, because what else do you do in lead in the evening? And this is a very nice ink. Another small bottle, though, that would be worth using up. This is Diamine. In fact, I couldn't fit this pen in it, so I had to dump it into something else just to fill it. So this is Diamine Damson ink. One of those nice dusky purples. That, again, might have been worth having if I had just one dusky purple. But I have several. So we're going to thin the herd. Will there come a point which I buy inks, or am I just going to use up inks for the rest of my life? I don't know. I know there's certain colors. Like if I run out of black ink, I will buy more black ink. That's a given. Some of the others, don't know. Speaking of black inks, this is a Sailor Reglus. This is one of those pens that I bought early on in my pen buying career that just appealed to me. Very 70s looking. Turns out, it's an okay pen, but nothing amazing. It's a very fine nib. And it is a fine, but it's a Japanese fine. And the ink in it is Pelikan, Edelstein, Onyx. Again, another nice black that has me thinking, well, why not use it up? Because I do go through black ink fairly quickly. That 1 liter bottle of Pelikan will keep. So, expect to see more black inks. That's why the Lamy 2000 has Parker Quink black in. I just thought, yeah, I like the ink, but let's use it up. Let's get rid of some bottles. Okay, and my last pen, which actually is nearing empty. I can't tell in this light, but I don't think you're going to see it next week. You might, but I doubt it. Because it's getting low. Although I could refill it with the same ink because this is also in a very small bottle. So Pilot Custom 823 with a broad nib. Did I show it off? I don't remember. Krishna Writer's Night. And again, a very nice purple. Not a dusky purple like the Damson, but a very nice purple. And just kind of a very evocative name. So those are the pens and inks I've been using this week. Now let's take some walking around Lead and Deadwood. So that was the pens and inks I've been using this week. The original plan, I was going to go down, because I had spring break, I was going to go down on the March 17th and stay 2 nights in Lead, South Dakota. That part of my plan did pan out. So I got to Lead in plenty of time, and I'd planned next to go down to Deadwood and walk around and film footage and, just kind of tour the place. I don't gamble. But on the way up, I discovered that Deadwood was very full of St. Patrick's Day revelers and was going to get just more full. So I thought, well, it'll still be there tomorrow. I walked around Lead, which wasn't in the original plans at all, but hey, I like Lead. And, it's good exercise to walk up and down those steep hills. So walked around Lead, had supper at a Mexican restaurant in Lead, which, last time I was there, no restaurants were open. I ate supper at a... Oh, shit. Stop talking. So anyway, those are the pens and inks that I was using this week. Last week, I planned to film a pens in use. I think I mentioned in the writing sample that, the only pen that actually went with me down there was a Lamy 2000. So, I didn't film a pens in use because, what's the point when you only bring one pen with you? But a lot of my plans failed, as you'll see in this little travelogue. But a lot of things worked out despite that. So I actually did enjoy my vacation. It might have been nice to have some time at home, but would I have really used those days at home, or would I have just kind of squandered them? And then gone back to school on Monday thinking, oh, if only I'd used my days off to do something. Well, I did something, and I'm happy about that. And I had a good time. And I got away for a while, so that was good too. But anyway, so we'll take you through what happened. Even a surprise side trip to Custer, South Dakota, where the Crazy Horse Monument is. So, let's take a look at my trip. So I came into Deadwood from the direction I never come, which is from the interstate. I usually take the back way to Deadwood. Of course, there's Deadwood. And I forgot, it's St. Patty's Day, and it was quickly filling up with St. Patty's Day revelers from Rapid City and whatnot. And I know you can't really see them, but what can I say? It was horrible lighting on the dash cam and the windshield. So, they were there. There's one, all dressed in green and everything. So, I just decided, no, I'm not going to do Deadwood tonight. I decided to walk around Lead instead, which was where I was staying anyway. And while walking around Lead, I discovered that with traffic noise, it doesn't pick up my voice as well as it did when I took the cell phone on my hikes. And of course, Lead is a very steep town with lots of stairs. It actually became a city in 1876, so lots of history there. All thanks to gold mining, which I think deserves a video of its own. Great Sioux War video will delve into some of that. And need I emphasize what steep streets these are, and this isn't the steepest yet. But a very historical city, because again, 1876. My town has not been settled that long because we didn't have gold. But again, what a steep street. I drive a stick, I don't want to stop there. This is a gas station where I had supper the last time I stayed here. Luckily, more things were open. And yes, they had railroad here. Here's the old roundhouse. In a place like Lead, South Dakota, they had a roundhouse and railroad. How? And of course, in a place like Lead, you can't waste a flat area even if you have to create it. And the other thing is, looking at those roofs, if you're into nude sunbathing in your backyard, don't do it in Lead because they can look down on you. Again, nude sunbathing in the backyard, not recommended because your neighbors can look down on it and have a clear view. In the 1970s, Lead and Deadwood combined to create a school district, the high school in Lead, the elementary school in Deadwood. Okay, I am a softie for old schools, and I love this old school on this steep hillside. Clearly a 1920s high school. I'm not sure exactly when. And there is the much newer junior high school, and up on the hillside between them is the football field. But just look at that. I teach in a much more modern building, and yeah, there's definite perks to modern buildings, but there's something about an old school that I just absolutely love. So here I was just walking along and remarking on how the wheels are cocked toward the curb because of the steep hillside, and I came upon something kind of shocking. Okay, yeah, it was more nuanced than it looked there. What? What was that? Yeah, more nuanced than it looked, but That's not saying much, because holy shit, I wouldn't want a swastika on my car. And yeah, it wasn't a pro-Nazi thing, but it was almost as horrific. And if you want to know what it said, zoom in on that part of the screen. So let's move on to more pleasant topics. Oh look, a Methodist church. Oh look, a Presbyterian church. So let's talk about old churches instead. So this Presbyterian church dates from 1906. A relatively plain building. I think that's the manse back there where the pastor lives. But I found it really attractive. No steeple. Again, very plain. I'd like a closer look at the stained glass. I didn't try going in. I didn't know if it was open, and I just feel weird doing that. But I guess if I show up at 11 a.m. on a Sunday, I can wander in and check her out. But I just thought it was a neat looking church. And yeah, First Presbyterian Church of Lead, 1906. Just down the hill is Trinity United Methodist Church, which is much newer and, as I later found out, built in 1956. And further down the hill, I found this building with, what is it, newspaper? Oh, Trinity Methodist Church office. So apparently it's the church offices now, but I was very happy to see that they kept all of these old tile signs, because these were really cool, and it would have been a shame to lose them. But yeah, I guess it belongs to the church now. So I've never gone to a church big enough to have church offices, so I don't know what they do there, but they do something officey. Yep. So it belongs to the Methodists now. I don't usually do billboards, but this was cool because this is actually a restoration of a vintage billboard that had been painted on the side of this building. And I always love those old advertisements. And I don't know what makes them different from new, but kudos to Lead for having this restoration on its main street. And of course, even Lead feels the impact of not so far away Sturgis. I was happy to see that more of Lead's businesses were full, or were going to be full, than the last time I visited, so that was a good sign. And again, there were more places to eat, which was also a good sign. I just thought Lead was looking good in this trip. Okay, if you ever heard the narration behind this, I was walking by what looked like a old school, and these signs made it pretty clear it was a school. I'm not sure if it was a Catholic school or what, because it was by the old Catholic school. Maybe it's Lead's old elementary. I don't know. But it'd been kind of renovated, or starting to be renovated, into some kind of a hotel or apartments or whatever. But these chains used to be used to lock the doors open so you could get a breeze. The cooler air would enter down below, and then the warmer air would exhaust out the top so you could get air circulation. My own school has a slightly more modern equivalent of this. We don't use it. New schools aren't built with it, and what a sad commentary on the world we live in that we don't do this. We don't dare lock our school doors open anymore. On a happier note, here is an old church that's become some kind of a business, and it's right by the old Lead gold mine. There is the museum, which is a very interesting visit. I'm hoping this summer to go on their tour, as long as COVID doesn't prevent it again. This museum has a number of exhibits related to the mine, and it overlooks the old pit. And I think my favorite thing in the museum is the three-dimensional map of the old mine. So I've got to do a serious video on Lead where I actually park my camera and take real footage instead of this walking around stuff, because I want to do a historical video. Now, of course, the mine is known for its underground research, Sanford Labs. And this is an old research facility from 1968. Ooh, and I stumbled on the steps apparently. All that earth above it provides a great place for particle research, and some of the first research into neutrinos actually happened at this mine. So I got up fairly early the next morning and visited Deadwood, which is just down the hill, and I used the public parking. And I have to thank Mr. Pierre Gustafson, so I'll post a link to the video, for showing me how to use one of these, because otherwise I would have been just like, what is this? This is not a parking meter that I know. So thank you. And of course, you didn't think I was going to walk away without a better look at that dragon. He's cute, or she is. I don't know what the gender is. Who cares? But it is cute. Just incredible detail and all done in wood. But that brings us to Deadwood early in the morning where, there are a few determined people like me around. Whatever that was. But yipe, steep hillside. And a lot of old historic buildings and delivery vehicles and advertisements for gambling. A little history. Yeah, Wild Bill Hickok got shot right here a couple years ago. But I just find it so interesting that, it's just kind of a tourist thing because whatever. But these fun old buildings. I love them. And hey, park in a modern parking garage to see them. If we're going to drink beer, why not? Premium grain belt. I kind of like it. And just some more historic buildings on the main street. A lot of casinos and junk, or bars. This isn't a wholesome area to bring your family. And some, whatever stuff. Yeah, old junk and whatever. Hey, keeps the tourists coming. That's the important thing, right? Okay, and I do like old buildings, and I should have a soft spot for Deadwood, but the gambling thing grosses me out, and I'll show you why in just a little bit, but we'll look into a casino here and oh my god, is that pornographic? Oh, slot play. Yay! Let's play slots. And another casino. It is full of casinos, and we also can't have weapons here. But hey, at least Deadwood has an elementary school. High school is in Lead, but elementary is here. And again, just like Lead, another cool 1920s building with a retaining wall that's interesting. And hey, again, our Lead Deadwood Elementary School from the opening scene. And what a fun old building. I'd kind of like to tour it, even though I don't teach elementary. I started up the stairs and thought, I'm going to look for a cornerstone. Then I just got partway up and thought, it's kind of weird creeping up on an elementary school, so I stopped. But hey, they closed in 1971, so that was useful to know, because I did say 1970s when I toured Lead, so I was close. And it did say 1924 for this building there. It just doesn't show up in this footage. But again, what a fun elementary school, and right there on the same street where they gamble and drink alcohol. So, yay, Deadwood. And, there is a lot to the school, so there is that. And a lot more going up Main Street, so I do think it's good that they are on Main Street. That is something I've always liked. So again, I love a town that puts its school on Main Street, because it's saying, we value this.
Can do my best.
Partly they also value Franklin Hotel and other businesses, but hey, and people do live here. Here's where the guy that shot Wild Hickok was arrested, and just a little more. What's that? Yeah, that's actually just happening. Awkward. So again, here we are with lots of stairs in Deadwood, just like Lead. Very cool buildings. And the houses are up high on the hillside. Don't nude sunbathe on your roof. And lots of little businesses that are curiously aligned. And bring your kids along while you gamble and maybe drink. Got entertainment for them, so why not? Great environment for kids. Family friendly. But in all seriousness, it is a beautiful town and a beautiful setting. And they did what they had to do to survive, because the town was dying as the gold went away. And this is a way to bring the town back to life. So Camry and I are going to take you on a little side trip now. I headed down to Custer, South Dakota, the home of Crazy Horse National Monument. It's still in progress. This is what it will look like in the future. I'm not sure how the rock will hold all that up, but we'll see. And there is what is done as of now. Very cool museum there and worth visiting. So that was Lead, Deadwood, Crazy Horse. We didn't get any Rapid City because, dead batteries thanks to the cold. And we didn't get any Spearfish Canyon because, well, I was mad. Because I'd planned to film my Q&A there, and whoops! I didn't put a card in this camera. Card was sitting here on this desk where you watched my pen's writing when I got home. So that was a fail. And we'll try again, maybe in less dramatic scenery, but I'll try again. We'll get her done somehow. So, anyway, if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I'd invite you to subscribe. And hey, comment below. What do you do when your plans fail? Do you panic? Do you just not have any plans and just go with the flow? Or do you adapt? Let us know down in the comments. So thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.